Hey folks, how you doing out there? Welcome to another Drink and a Wink info review, and we're closing in on the end of Scorztember blended Scotch-o-rama. Sorry, wow, that was a rough start. Long couple of days here, doing a whole lot of driving, um, teaching, caring, but it wrapped up with a really fun gig. And I'm going to bring another blended Scotch-o-rama to you here. We're going to talk about another blended Scotch, one of my all-time favorites. I kind of put some of our favorites towards the end here, and along with that, ones that you can still get. Okay, we're not going to go too obscure on here. Going forward, I have a few more in the hopper, and maybe I'll get a few more here before the end of the month. I might, get a blended Scotch or two around birthday time, which is on Sunday. So, not looking forward to getting older, but I'm looking forward to. Well, I don't know. Hopefully, I'll get wiser. Everyone can use a little more wiser. Uh, Wisdom. Anyway, it was a fun night tonight. Last couple of nights, or I guess it was last weekend, and then today, working for an organization called Northside Brass. It's kind of fun to play jazz gigs at events where there's those that we call here in Chicago maybe jobby jazz, and I know those gigs don't go away so much. I don't get a lot of the regular jobbing gigs. I don't hunt them out, and there are other fine players that do a lot of it. But the jazzy job thing or jobby jazz thing is kind of fun, and when you're playing with excellent musicians for an excellent organization, and then the clients also are really appreciative and really dig it, it's a lot of fun. So I played as much jazz tonight as I've played in a while, so it was really fun. Anyway, I'm going on here. Let's talk about some whiskey. All right. So we've talked about a lot of the big name old standards. Johnny Walker, Dewar's, a little bit about Chivas Regal. We even mentioned a Cutty Sark, the Prohibition one, but we haven't talked about a newer company in the whole grand scheme of things, and that is a compass. That is a company called Compass Box. Now, Compass Box is an interesting company. They are not distilling their own product. Okay, this is definitely they're kind of along the lines of an independent bottler along with a blender. Now, if you don't know what that means, I'll explain that. And an independent bottler is a company that buys whiskey from distilleries, and then maybe does some more interesting things with it. They might age it in a special barrel. They might age it in a couple of different special barrels. They may just age it for longer. They may not water it down as much as the actual distilleries will do when they put out their core range products, and then they'll sell it to you. Okay. I brought in the single malt world. I only have a couple now. One of them. There's different brands, and that business is kind of fading away a little bit as distilleries now realize that they can put out their core range products, and now they have to do something else special. So they'll put out these kind of limited edition boxing or bottlings that have same kind of thing, higher ABV, more interesting aging. So Compass Box does this, but they're also a blender in that they're buying whiskeys of different sorts and then blending them. Okay, whereas the independent bottlers, there are blended Scotch independent bottlings, but that's kind of a different ball game. So if you're buying single malt Scotch in the barrel and then doing something more interesting with that single malt Scotch, it remains single malt Scotch. They're just treating it differently. Okay, kind of think of that as maybe customizing a stock, not a stock car, but it's a regular core range model car. Souping it up, so to speak, and it's still sold as single malt Scotch whiskey. That's an independent bottler. What these companies do, these blenders do, is they will maybe, let's think of it more like parts of different cars and put it together and assemble it in a different way, hopefully a better way. So if that wasn't more confusing, the Compass Box company does a whole lot of work. The blending office or the blending warehouse or the blending studio is in London, actually. But they purchase a bunch of different whiskeys, and they have some in their core range, and they have some in their advanced range, or limited edition range as well. The interesting thing about this is they call themselves whiskey makers. Sometimes they've also been that term is kind of whiskey producers, but they call themselves whiskey makers because they are not just buying a bunch of stuff and mixing it together. They are experimenting, they're doing things, and they're putting out a product with purpose. Okay. The other thing you'll know about most of their products is they're industry leaders in terms of telling you what you're buying. A lot of their mid-price and upper are all natural color and no chill filtering, and that's great. And they usually are giving you a little bit more on the ABV than some of the other bigger name companies. Their start was in a grain whiskey, okay, but when they started focusing in on Scotch, their kind of flagship product is called Orchard House. Beautiful bottle. I think this is our second one, and you can see we're getting kind of low on this. This is kind of, Michelle loves this too. Loves this. This has kind of become a perma-shelf. When this one goes, I'll get another one. And let me take one little sip so I get my everything aligned here. So this one, and I'll get more in depth on it, is all nice, clean, very fruity, no smoke whatsoever, very much in the Speyside model. They also have another product which is kind of in the same price range called the Peat Monster, which is a really heavily peated blended malt. They have a couple other ones in the range. Another one that's new is called Nectarosity. So they have this kind of artful way and this somewhat poetic language or creative language. The bottling is very creative. It's just a cool company. They are borrowing a lot from kind of the modern wine marketing and maybe some of the artwork. There's kind of two ways that they can go. They can be very spare. You see a lot of wines now come out with just very spare kind of design, very modern, but solid color on a very kind of traditional looking font or typography and that. Then there are other ones that have lots of cool artwork on it. That's kind of the way they're going. Here's the other more fascinating thing about this. They have, like I said, I mentioned the Peat Monster. They have a couple of blended scotches in the lower range. One called, I used to have it, Glasgow Blend, and the other one was the Artist Blend. We have had the Artist Blend, very nice blended scotch. Those are going to be in your $30 for $40 range. Okay, that's very nice stuff. Then they have another series called the Hedonism series, which is their grain whiskey. There's another one called, they have all kinds of them. I'm just going to go back on the web page here and go look and give you some other names. Nectarosity, that's one I'm looking at. That might be a purchase soon. The Peat Monster, also looking to get that. Crimson Cask. They have these interesting things. And then Hedonism, they have all these different years. There's the Retired Core Collection, and Spice Tree was one of them. So these things coming out, they have these editions, they have these, think of it as vintages. It's really kind of a neat company. The coolest thing about it is I've already told you that they, if you are a kind of a whiskey nerd and you want information, you're going to get it here. Non-chill filtered, no color added. They give you a nice story and explanation, but who needs that? That's not the important part with this company. What's the important part for this company is that great flavor. And then, I know you're not going to be able to kind of get a whole lot from the website here, especially with glare, is they give you a wonderful page explaining all kinds of stuff about this whiskey. And that's good enough. But if you burrow down a little bit, let's go to the process, and they're going to give you the actual map after we give you some flavor tasting things and technical details. Okay, they actually give you the map and percentages. This is kind of this resembles a whiskey tasting wheel of of what this blend consists of. So there's some Glen Murray first fill bourbon barrel. That's 10%. They literally tell you, and then they give you the tasting notes of each one. There is some distillery near the town of Aberlour. Okay, so sometimes they don't give you the exact name, but you can do the math on that one. There's a Highland malt blend, again, not a brand name, but custom French oak barrel. I don't know. It's a small amount. A big amount is from the Linkwood distillery. I may tell you again the amount and the flavors that are being imparted from that. And then finally, most importantly, the Klein-Leach distillery. Klein-Leach is well known. I got it back there. If you just look right in that little, well, you can't see it. I'm not going to dig it out. But Klein-Leach 14 is a standard favorite for everyone. Klein-Leach 14 has this character of having a waxy taste. Love that. That Klein-Leach bottle there. We're actually kind of getting on the end of that one. That one was given to me by Jeff Hedberg. I remember it was a complete surprise. I've been thinking of getting that one, but I just never got it. He bought it for me for either a birthday or something. Thanks to Jeff if he's out there. We're just about ready to finish that one, and that's a lovely one. So there's a lot of Klein-Leach in this one. So I mean, there are other companies that keep everything a secret, and you don't know anything about it. This one tells you everything. It's really cool. Now let's get into the taste in this one. I've had a little bit of a sip. The nose, I mean, it's called Orchard House, so it's going to be fruity. We've got apples, we've got nectarines, we've got oranges on the cover of this, and some flowers. Always remember that when we're talking about orchard stuff. A lot of times we're talking about, like, or I should say whiskeys. We're talking about nuttiness. We're talking about different types of fruits, whether it's like kind of bright fruits like apples, citrus, dark fruits. You know what fruits are. Like I said, nuts, vanillas, and all that. Breakfast spices are more darker, nutmeg type stuff spices. The one thing we forget is sometimes that we can get, or it's one flavor that we don't talk about a lot because it's kind of like it is in the whiskey or it's not, is floral. Aberlour, the one that is mentioned in this list, let me see how much that, distillery near Aberlour. Okay, we don't know that it is known for its floral flavor. Okay, very cool stuff. I mentioned Jeff Hedberg. Jeff Hedberg and Greg Clements are big Aberlour fans. I am as well. I don't bring them up enough. Maybe when we get back into single malt Scotch whiskey, I'm going to review one of those. Apples. Let me get a big. I'm going to do my 4, 7, 8 breathing. And when we're doing this, it looks like pretentious AF, but this wasn't a $12 bottle of rot gut. This is a $60 or $50 bottle of whiskey. Take the time on it. You bought it. You might as well do it. And that gives you a little bit more of the earthiness, a little bit more of what I would guess would be the Highland element here. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed Kalila Distillery. There is 2.3% of Kalila distillery stuff. Kalila is usually a peated malt. It's very small, but there's a little bit of ginger in here if you go deeper. On the main nose, I'm getting exactly what you're seeing on the picture. Apple, citrus, a little bit of cinnamon, a little bit of a chocolate note. But then you go deeper, and you're going to get a little bit of an earthiness, a little bit of, just a hint of smoke. On the taste, it's just everything I've mentioned, amplified, balanced. The 40, what is this at? 46%. It comes out and gets you. The blend is tangy. It's just a little bit of alcohol burn, but I like it. There's nothing flat about this. it's surprisingly balanced for all this blend of containing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different single malt Scotch whiskeys. The mouthfeel is great. It's thick. It's waxy, which obviously the Klein leash, if you know that, you'll get that right away here. As it fades, you get a little more in the lemon area, and a little bit of the oak note that you would expect. With all this, not a lot of sherry finished ones here. If I'm looking at this, oh, there's kind of a, well, French oak barrel, first fill bourbon. This is more bourbon, ex-bourbon cask than anything else, and it's just honey in there. I didn't really get the honey until I kind of at the end. But then that's the kind of honey that we're talking, like that you get out of a bottle, that comes, in the shape of Smokey the Bear, and then you use about a third of it, and then you have no idea what to do with the rest of it because you can't microwave it, and you're not going to take that time to boil. You would end up throwing half of it away. Maybe it is that, but no, it's high quality, the taste of high quality honey. Obviously, it's not added to this, but you get that. This finish at the very end, it's just a hint of earthiness and smoke. I'm really surprised that there's any Kalila in this. This is just a fantastic product, artfully blended, and it's what good work can do, and the combination of ingredients here, or the recipe, so to speak, as they call it, of these 6 different single malt Scotch whiskeys is just, it's really surprising. Every time and what's funny, every time I have it, this is for sure the most flavor notes that I've given you on any of these blended Scotch whiskeys. I'm getting so much here, but it's balanced. That's the key. The trick with blended Scotch whiskey is, and blended malts, even that, if you're doing a blended malt, is for it to not, these items come together and actually like decrease the volume on an element. I remember I was talking about Monkey Shoulder, which is another blended malt, okay, or a vatted malt. I was talking about that one, and one of the things that I liked about that one in the past was that you could get the oak flavor, a big oak flavor, and I could taste the 3 single malts that were in there, and they were all doing some work, and it wasn't fighting each other. Okay, sometimes with blended malt or blended Scotch and blended malts, when you throw all this stuff together, it becomes kind of white noise, and ends up doing this. Okay, so you have this nice big flavor, you have this big flavor, and you have a third. Well, I'll use my head as the third, and then when they all come together, and we end up actually, it lessens it and mutes it in some way. This is like the perfect level. I think I've said enough about this. This is. It's funny. I thought that maybe Campbelltown Lock was going to be my favorite that I drank this whole time, and Campbelltown Lock is still a wonderful blended malt. But if you come for the king, best not miss, man. I haven't had this in a while, and I'm kind of sad that this bottle is just almost like just a fifth left. Here's the extraordinary news right now. For some odd reason, Compass Box. I looked and I checked all the prices on their big 3 would be Orchard House, maybe Artist Blend, but that's kind of a lower. Like I said, that's just a blended Scotch, and it's good, but it's not. Well, it's not these things. They're big 3 in terms of blended malts that they're kind of pushing right now is the Orchard House. They don't have to push that one. This one is so good. The Peat Monster, I might get my hands on a peat monster in the coming days. That might be the other one. And then the newest one, Nectarosity. And they all have I've had peat monster before, but they all have a certain character. Where was I going with that thought process? Oh, yeah, the good news here. For some odd reason, I don't know if it's because I don't know where the company is actually located, so I don't know if it's London or Scotland, or maybe it's not even there. For some reason, I noticed that I have not seen the tariff bump at a couple of retailers that I checked today for Compass Box Scotch whiskey. All right, which means that this bottle is $50 right now. Now, if you're not used to Scotch prices, that might sound high, but it has not been increased. I think I remember buying it. Maybe I bought it on sale, but I don't remember it being any higher than 50, the regular price. I didn't look at Peat Monster, but they do not seem to have the bump, which means either they have a mega distributor that got that stuff over here early, before the tariff threats, or they're maybe the parent company isn't getting affected by this. I don't know. You lose track every, and I'm not keeping like what's the word? I'm not keeping a Trump tariff vision board on my wall every time he changes this and that, the other thing. Who knows? But and again, if you don't like this, see ya. I don't care. This is just the truth. It just is exactly the truth, and it's not just imports coming here. There's a lot of small craft distillers that are probably voted for him, probably supported him, and now are kind of scratching their heads. And I feel for them because, but whatever. So I'm not just going off on some tangent. Don't cancel me. All right. Yeah. So this is really nice stuff. I won't get any farther on that. Compass Box Orchard House. I'm going to say that if you are a fan of juicy, vibrant single malt Scotch whiskey, you will be surprised by this one. Okay, there are many single malt Scotch whiskeys that are marketed to be under this price tag, under $50 here in the States, that are garbage compared to this. Okay, there are some good ones in there, but it's hard to get a single malt Scotch now of any high quality under $50. Right now, if you were going to tell me my beloved Glenmorangie original, which is now at $12, I would buy this over that all day. Yes, this is $10 higher than that, but that's a given. The standard Glenfiddich 12, get this. Any of those things, I would get this. If you're a wine fan, and Scotch has sometimes been a little bit too much oaky, and perhaps a little bit too heavy on the barley side, and or a blended Scotch, you get too much of the corn and that vibe. This one right here, there's no corn in this. This is still all malted barley, just treated differently by 6 different distilleries and then artfully blended together. I can't say enough of this. I think unless something comes my way, it's like that Seinfeld, for seeing any well, don't worry about it. I think this is going to be, I'm going to name this, and I don't have to name a best one, but this is the one that I'm just going to, this one in the back of my mind was like, this is the one we both like the best, Michelle and I, and it's going to be hard to change. So look for this one. If you're a peat head, I have had the Peat Monster, have not owned the Peat Monster. That same level, I won't guarantee anything about that you'll love it, but if you're a Speyside whiskey fan here, this is great. I don't know about the other ones, but this company doesn't miss a lot. All right, really good stuff. All right, tomorrow I'm going to be. I won't be home early enough to do one. That's Friday. Saturday I have a gig late, so I might skip that one, or I might not be able to get a video out on that night either. Maybe tomorrow I'll get another one out. So we're closing into the end of September, and I want to complete at least covering most of what I have in blended Scotch whiskey. Don't have much left over there to talk about. But yeah, I hope you're enjoying this, and I'm kind of enjoying it too, because I did definitely get a little bit we get like this, we can kind of get a little snobby about something, and single malt Scotch whiskey is always going to be my favorite. Uh, you know, I could reach over without even looking and grab a bottle of single malt Scotch whiskey that I would prefer over this. But I could also reach in a couple places. I mean, I got rid of most of the ones I didn't dig, but this one is great. And now that we've had let me finish that thought. I sometimes it's just like blended Scotch, and you don't really know it. Yeah, I'm talking about a malt blend, so it's still single malt Scotches in there. There is no other grain, but sometimes it's been fun to kind of go through these and then see also where my tastes have changed. Where I'm like, I am going to be a little snob, like that Doer Smooth series. I was really knocked out by it, but I think I was also knocked out by like the price tag at the time. It was $21-22 a bottle. When they came out in spaced out in time frame, and it's 8 years. I was like, oh wow, that's really cool. I like them. I don't know that I'll buy any more of those again. Maybe the rum one might, and maybe the Portuguese one. But let me get back on path here. Get back on the path. This has been interesting to me because now I'm seeing again where have my tastes changed. I remember thinking that Dewar's 15 was kind of sleepy leather patch on the arm kind of whiskey. It turns out I tried it. I actually liked it better than I thought. And there's also been some things like, like Monkey Shoulder. So it's been fun for me. I hope you're enjoying this journey as well, and you can, take it from me that anything that I say, I think you should. I'm recommending, and I'm giving a thumbs up. If I'm a little iffy on it, pass on it. But anything I'm giving a thumbs up. I will guarantee you one thing. I'm not going to guarantee that you're going to like it, but I will guarantee that the companies that I recommend are putting some thought, and the quality is there for what you're paying for. Okay. As we get into bigger companies, sometimes I don't know for sure, but I'm trying to steer you in that right direction. And I will tell you also when things are too high. And again, that'll be from bigger companies. All right. Compass Box, you do not have to worry about them. They are making an excellent product from the very bottom, their cheapest product, to their limited edition. This is really, really good. Just like it. All right, folks. We'll see you. All right. Now that I drank that, I guess I should have an apple. That's not an apple. An orange. I'm going to compare apples to oranges. All right.